we're going to give this one last shot. I'm not getting a lot of bars of service if I'm not on the internet, and when I am on the internet, it's not going well either. So we're going to try this one more time. It looks smoother on my big screen now, so hopefully that means we're working now. We're going to try this again. Of course, all of the important stuff I've said about the in colors and what they are and all that. I don't want to go through it a third time for those of you who've already heard it twice. So I'm going to go ahead and just turn the camera around, and we're going to go ahead and get started. So give me just a moment. We'll turn the camera around. Okay, so thank you for your patience. We will get this figured out because I do have some really fun cards for you that I want to share. Thank you, Marcy. I appreciate the feedback because, you know, sometimes it looks wonky on your own screen and it's fine for everybody else, and sometimes it's the opposite. So it does look like it's clear now. So hopefully we'll be able to get this show on the road now. Let's see here. Yes, technology. You can't live with it. You can't live without it, right? It looks like it's totally crooked on my screen. So let's see if I can straighten you out a little bit here. Okay, so we'll go ahead and we'll get going. This month's Paper Pumpkin Kit. We've already talked about the fact that it is about all of our new in colors. Some great colors, nice and bright and vibrant. And so I'm going to show you some alternate ideas for this kit. Hi, Mary, welcome. If you missed the part where I described what is different this month, or in case you missed me describing what's different this month, I'm going to go ahead and go over that one more time. Normally, when we get our kits, Stampin' Up! Sends enough supplies to make 3 of each card. And so what I normally do is I make one copy of the ones that Stampin' Up! Has designed. Welcome, Ramona. Welcome, Kathy. And what I do is I make that one just to kind of give you an idea of what Stampin' Up! Had in mind for us. Then I take the supplies for the 2 other cards, and I create alternate ideas. And that gives me enough supplies to make one for our sample and one to work with you in this video. Well, this month, because there's 5 different in colors, Stampin' Up! Provided the ideas for 5 different cards, but they only gave the supplies for 2 of each of those cards. So I kind of had to change it up a little bit. I did not make the samples that Stampin' Up! Had in mind. What I did is I just made the ones that we're going to make together, and then I made a few samples of my own. So some more alternate ideas. And I hope you enjoy that. Thank you for sharing, Marcy. To those of you watching, one of the things you can do that helps me out a lot, if you enjoy what you're watching, please share this video to your feed. You never know who in your feed might be interested, and it helps me get my name out there a lot. It helps support my business, so I really appreciate it. Likes and thumbs up are always welcome. I appreciate those as well. So let's get this show on the road. As you can see, normally, you know, I show you all the supplies that the kit came with, or at least what I have left. But I used most of it this month, so I don't really have a lot to show you. This is what the inside of the envelopes looked like, only they were in the 5 different in colors. The in colors, as you can see from this little flyer here, there's Starry Sky, kind of a darker blue. And then we've got Orchid Oasis, which is a lighter blue. We have Tahitian Tide, which is kind of an aqua. Parakeet Party, which is kind of a bright green, sort of like Granny Apple green, but a little bit lighter. And then we have Sweet Sorbet. Those are the 5 new colors, and they will be with us for 2 years. Okay, so Stampin' Up! Gave us some cards. You can see from this some ideas of different cards to make. But we're going to go rogue and do our own thing. So let me put these away. Actually, I'm going to need these. These are the little resin dots that came to decorate, and we're going to use some of those. So here we go. Hold on. The stamp set that came with this month's kit is Ramona says she's in Spokane this weekend. Wow, that's kind of cool. Where are you from, Ramona? For those that you don't know, I'm from Spokane, or I'm in Spokane. And so it's kind of fun to see somebody who is also in the area. So this month's stamps have a big happy, a kind of a cursive U, some little splatters, and then little partial sentiments to put with the words happy or you. There's to celebrate your day, to have you in my life, you make me, can do anything, and just for. So kind of some fun ideas. And I'm going to show you what I came up with. First, I'm going to show you some of the extras that I came up with just because it's kind of fun. I did this, and for this one, I actually cut open one of the envelopes, and this is the inside of one of the envelopes. And then I used our Biggest Wish, that's the name of the set, and some of our brass butterflies. So this was one of my alternate idea cards. I have this one where I stamped the word happy, colored in a few of them. I used one of the die cuts, one of the dies that comes through, and I colored it in. And I also used our baker's twine. You can get in our catalog, you can purchase a pack of 5 rolls of baker's twine, and each one is like this where it's kind of swirled of white and whatever the color is, all 5 colors in one pack. So there was this card. And then, let's see, I also came up with this one. I used the Granny Apple Green to stamp the flower, just because I wanted something a little bit darker that would definitely stand out on that parakeet party. And I feel like those colors go together really, really well. They don't fight with one another. So I liked that. And Marcy says she's excited to play with her kit now. Good. That's my whole goal, is to give you some additional ideas to free up some creativity in your own mind, to do all sorts of fun and exciting things. So, Ramona came to watch Hamilton. I got to go see it on Mother's Day weekend, and it's so good. So you'll have to keep in touch, Ramona, and let me know when you're in the area, or, what's it called? Where you follow me on this page, because I'm going to start doing some live events. And when you're in the area, maybe you can catch one of my live events. That would be really cool. Okay, so here's another one. This one felt like a graduation card to me. I don't know if it was just because of the gold and the blue, or what it was. So what I did is, this kit also came with these little pockets that are intended to be gift card holders. So I put a gift card holder in it as well. So, okay, now I'll put these aside and we'll get going on our cards. Okay, now this first card, I'm actually using in addition to some of the products that came in the Paper Pumpkin kit, I'm also using the Blessings of Home bundle. And there's the Blessings of Home stamp set and the Flowers of Home dies. And you can purchase these in our January through June mini catalog. Set this aside, and I'll show you the card we're going to make. And this is the card. There's quite a bit of moving parts to this card, so we'll get going on that. Hopefully, the fact that I pre-cut some of the dies and stuff will help it speed along a little bit quicker, especially since we got a late start today. Okay, so this was the card front that came in the kit. Let's get this folded up and scored, or not scored, but get that crease folded nice and sharp. Let's see. Okay. Now let me show you what was intended for this card. I can actually show you, which I thought it was very, very cool, but I didn't know a way to show it alternately. This die also came in the pack. Let's see here. And you punch out the word you, okay? And then this piece lays over that. And I just thought that was so cool. It was very beautiful. I loved this idea, but I couldn't really think of something different enough to do with it. because I didn't trust myself to handwrite that U in there. And if you just put it on a blank piece like that, you can't really tell what the word is. Or if you just use the punched out piece, you can't really tell. So I think for these pieces, you really need to stick very pretty close to what they had in mind for us. But it is really a beautiful idea. I like it a lot. So I did want to show that to you. But as I do, I, covered it up. Okay, so let's start here with, we've got our envelope, right? And what I'm going to do for the envelope this time around, I've just got a piece of scrap paper here. Okay, my dog is going through a phase right now where he has to be right between my feet at all times. So I'm standing here while I stamp with you with a dog between my feet. It's rather challenging, to say the least. Okay, now I'm going to take my Orchid Oasis ink pad. This is the lighter of the two blues. And I'm inking up this nice big stamp. Sometimes with these big stamps, it's easier to take the ink pad and just go onto your stamp like this, okay? And I'm just kind of, let's see here. Put an image there. And then I'm going to do another one right here. There. Easy peasy. And that's all I'm going to do to decorate the envelope here. Now I need to clean my stamp off. Bear with me. Because it's a blue, it does tend to be a little darker, and if I don't clean it off, it's going to get blue ink everywhere. Okay, I'm glad that technology finally figured itself out, and it looks like we've got things going right now, so that's good. Okay, so set the envelope aside, take our card base, and then I'm actually going to keep the card base aside because we're going to wait to mount it onto the card. This is one of the pieces that came in the set, and what you could do is you see there's a die cut here, and you could punch it out and put something in the window, right? I'm going to leave that there because I don't want to have different levels of layering with my paper, so I'm just going to leave it there because we're going to be covering it up with another little circle anyway. So now we're going to take, I have two scraps here. One, we're going to stamp a flower, and then the other one, we're going to stamp and emboss the word U. So let's get those stamps out. I used a lot of products this time around, so my little bins that I keep everything in are very, very full. As you can hear me banging stuff around. Put a stamp back on a block that just came off. Okay, so this is the stamp that we're going to use. Okay, now for this, what I used is the Starry Sky ink because I wanted something just a little bit darker, like a black, to stamp the image because we're going to color it in a little bit. So, inked up my stamp. We're going to put that right there. There we go. Beautiful. Okay. Thank you for bringing that for me, Phineas. He's bringing me his toys because he wants me to play with him. I'll show you guys something funny. This is his ball. And as you can see, it has seen better days. So I had to steal it, put it on my desk where he can't see it. And then my husband bought him new ones today, that actually can be played with. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I have a couple of different colors I want to work with. Actually, 3 different colors I want to work with here. I have So Saffron, I have Garden Green, and I have Orchid Oasis. And what I did is I got a little bit of ink, well actually there's a lot of ink in there, in the lid of my pad. And the reason for that is because I'm not actually going to stamp per se. I am going to take my little blender pens scribble a little bit to make sure it doesn't have any color from the previous time I used it. And I'm going to pick up the ink off the lid there. Then I'm going to scribble because I want to get a lot of that ink off because I just want to be able to give it a little bit of color in the centers here of my flower. Just like that. I want a nice soft, you know, almost watercolory sort of look on these, though it isn't quite watercolor really. It's just soft like that. It's not gonna be a big bold color. Then the little flowers here, I'm gonna go ahead and color them in completely because they're so tiny. Okay, so now I'm done with the blue on this card, or on this picture. I'm going to clean off my pen by just scribbling some more. I'm going to take a little bit of yellow here and just add a little bit to the centers of the flowers. I don't want to do it too completely because, again, I don't want bold color. So I'm just kind of scribbling a little bit in there so there still leaves a lot of white. Oh, shoot. Oh, I got it on the paper there, but I forgot. We're going to die cut that anyway, so it'll be fine. And now I'm coloring. I am going ahead and doing solid on these little ones because, again, they're so small, you kind of almost have to do that. Okay, let's put that ink pad away. Scribble out that yellow. And now the garden green. And I'm just adding a little bit of color here with these little leaves. Again, I don't want a super bold image. I have a little more green on my pen, I think, than what I really wanted. But it'll still work. Now let's try to color the stems here. Okay. There we go. Okay, see, and as you can see, I'm just scribbling until it's clear, so that the next time I use this pen, I don't inadvertently get green on my picture. And we're going to need to die cut that in a minute, but let's go ahead and do our U first. And with that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use Versamark ink. This is our watercolor ink. I'm going to use my scrap of paper here. Find my stamp. Here we go, the one that says U in a kind of a cursive. Yes, Phineas is playing with something, Marcy. He has a chew toy that it's hard, specifically for little biting teethers like himself. And he keeps dropping it on the floor. Okay. Okay, so I just stamped the word U. Now put away your Versamark, because if you don't and you get the embossing powder on your ink pad, it's a mess to clean up and you pretty much have to throw the pad away. So make sure before you get the powder out, you go ahead and put that ink pad away. So shake off the extra there. I should have used my embossing buddy on there first to get the extra static off, and I forgot to, but we're going to go with it anyway. Okay, now put this extra powder away. It's going to get loud for just a minute, but it won't take long to go ahead and emboss this. So let me get my heat tool here. And we'll go ahead and get this melting. If you have not heat embossed before, I'll try to get this up where you can see. You know that it's finished an area. Ooh, that's hot. I should get my tweezers out. You'll know that it's finished an area because before it melts, it looks very grainy. As it melts, it starts to look shiny. And then I like to just go over it one more time, just for a moment. You don't want to go so long that you burn the paper, but just like one last pass over it. And then we're going to fussy cut that. We're going to die cut this one. So let me grab my little die cut machine. We have a really amazing magnetic plate for our big machine. But I'm using the little one today just because it's easier for you to see on the video. But the big deal with it is that I've got several extra plates here. The big deal with the magnetic plate is that what I'm about to do, I'm going to use a Post-it tape to hold my die in place. With the magnetic plate, you don't have to do that. It will just go whoop, and it sticks the plate right, or sticks the die right to the plate, and it doesn't wiggle around. It's really nice. Okay. Now I'm going to get a little bit of this tape here. And I'm just going to line up my die just so. This one is kind of funny to line up. Okay. Hold that in place just like that. Let's run it through the little machine. Little tip about this machine. I've seen a lot of people comment that they have a hard time with the little machine that they don't necessarily have with the big one. I have found it works better for me if I'm standing. That makes a huge difference. So if you're having a hard time, try standing. The other thing is too, sometimes if you kind of layer your plates, stagger your plates instead of having them all perfectly even like that, sometimes that helps as well. But the standing seems to be a really big help for me. Okay. Now we'll take this Post-it tape off, and there we go. We've got our die cut image. Move that out of the way. Everything's all cattywampus here. Now we're going to fussy cut that, which should not take long. It's not that big. Okay. A lot of people don't like fussy cutting, and I have mentioned this before. I used to really, really not like fussy cutting, but I've been doing a lot of it over the last year or so, and as with most things, practice makes perfect. Well, I shouldn't say perfect. Practice makes better, and it's a lot easier for me now, and now I don't really mind doing it. Now, there's some people out there who really enjoy it, and they find it relaxing. I still think that's weird, but I don't mind it like I used to. So if you are one of the individuals who was like I was, you know, say a year ago, and fussy cutting just really gave you hives, then I say dig in, double down, and just play with it. Keep doing it, because you will get to where you kind of figure out the feel of it for yourself. And, you know, the same tips, everybody always gives the same tips over and over, like move your paper, not your scissors, things like that. And that is a huge one. But I do believe you kind of have to get a feel for it yourself to really grasp what that means for you. So don't be afraid of fussy cutting. Force yourself to do it, and I promise you it will get easier. Okay, let's see here. Almost done. hate it though when there's like a little edge like that that keeps flipping over and getting in the way. Okay. The other thing is too, sometimes like when I'm going around a corner like this, it's not as smooth as I would like. Don't get hung up on that. Just keep going because you can always go back and trim it down a little bit, which is what I often end up doing. But just keep going because if you stop in the middle, you're going to throw yourself off. There we go. I thought there was another place I wanted to do that, but maybe not. Okay, there we go. So those pieces are cut and ready. So now I also have, hello Phineas, I also have some pieces that I die cut. I have a banner. I took this from our Stylish Shapes, I think is what it's called. It's a new die cut set that we have that's circles and squares and different size banners. You get, I think, 6 circles, 5 squares, and 4 banners. And then from the Flowers of Home dies, I cut out some, just some of the greenery in vellum and gold foil. So we'll just throw those out here. At least get them right side up so that I can see them when I'm working with them. Okay, now, first I took these long ones and I kind of put them together like this so that one was slightly longer than the other. And I used my glue dots. Actually, I'll get my glue dots first. Remember, you want to put the glue dot on the front of the die. Because we're going like that. And figure out where do we want to put this little spray. I think I like it right about there, like that. And the little glue dot I had had enough adhesive showing that it stuck there. So for now, that's perfectly fine. Let's do another one. And let's see. Okay. Let's stick this one down a little bit lower. Like that. Whoops. I don't have enough adhesive there that time, so let's get a little bit more on there. I love these little glue dots because you can put like 1,000 of them on there, as many as your little heart desires, and they're not going to show. So if you're somebody like me that thinks it needs a whole lot more adhesive than it really needs, you're still good to go. Okay, what do we think of that? That seems to work. Marcy said she likes to fussy cut but stinks at words. You know what? I actually like words because they're so curvy that to me curves are easier to work with because you just kind of fake it. So play with it, you know, stamp a bunch of words and then just practice with it. That's my suggestion. Talina says she loves that U stamp, that the font is really beautiful. And I'm with you, Talina. I really like it as well. I love stuff that has that nice cursive font like that. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and stick this onto my circle, just like that. So here, I'm going to take, I'm just going to use my liquid glue because I had it right here, and it is a little easier sometimes to go over these little pieces that you've stuck down with the liquid glue, just because there's a lot of little fine details that stick up. So stick that there like that. And then one final thing that I did is, well, I guess I stuck it down first. So let's go ahead and start piecing our card together. Actually, one more thing we're going to do before we piece our card together that I forgot to do. On our banner, we're going to heat emboss this with white really quick. And the words "for you." Here we go. Just for you. Just for is what we're stamping. And we're going to do this with the Versamark again. And our scrap piece of paper. Okay. And I'm stamping it off to the left. And there you go. By the way, this is what Versamark ink does. See how it stamped the image in just a darker shade of the cardstock itself? That's what a watermark ink does. So sometimes if you just want a darker image on the color, just go for your Versamark. That works really well. Okay, now I'm going to put white embossing powder on here. Hello, Phineas. He's just tall enough now that he can get his front feet up on my desk to see what I'm doing. I'm kind of waiting. It's not going to be much longer before he's going to stick his snout up here and be right in the middle of the camera. Okay. Yes, he's a very helpful assistant. Okay. Now, we're going to heat emboss this as well. And for this, because the piece is so small, I am going to get out my tweezers. I have these amazing little tweezers that Talina sent me. And Phineas, no. And when you push them, they open. So you don't have to hold them for them to stay closed. They're really awesome. And this is really good for when you have a smaller piece of paper like this, because you don't want to get your fingers so close to it while it's heating. Okay. Now we have all of our pieces and we're ready to start building our card. So this piece I'm actually going to go ahead and mount onto the card using foam adhesive sheets. They come in a pack of 6 that are about this size. I love my foam adhesive sheets because they're quick and they're easy, and you don't really have to use an entire sheet like I'm about to, but for the sake of being quick and easy, that's what I'm going to do right now. Do keep in mind it's very unforgiving though. So once I lay this down, sticky side down, it's going to live in whatever spot I put it. So be very careful that you are sure that's where you want it to go. Okay. So let's see here. Okay, so now I have that piece down. Now I'm going to go ahead and put my circle right here, and I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of adhesive, foam adhesive on the back of this as well, but I'll just use dimensionals for this. Oh, this dimensional pack is one of those where the backs are coming off with the dimensional. It's not a big deal. You know, it's just that I'm spoiled and I'm used to my dimensional backs not coming with the dimensional. Okay. You know me, if I use dimensionals, I like to use a lot of them. I don't like my card to sag. I have too many other things that sag. I don't want my cards to be one of them. Okay, so now I'm going to take those backs off. Okay, and I'm just going to go ahead and put this right about here. And then I had these little gold leftover pieces right here. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to stick them behind my circle. But I'm not worried about them being attached to the circle itself. They are going to be attached to the card. So it gives a little bit of a 3D effect. I'm just putting a little glue on there. You can use glue dots for this part as well if you choose. And it just kind of fills up this space a little bit. You can decide where you like it. I think I like it right there. Whoops. Okay, let's do the other one. Maybe. Oh, there it is. And here I'm putting the adhesive on the back, obviously, the only reason I'm really pointing that out is because before I made it a point to tell you to put it on the front when we were dealing with the glue dots. Oh, you know what? One of the little pieces that pops out here was still there. Okay. There we go. Now let's get our message on there. And of course I use dimensionals for the banner as well, but let's go ahead and glue the U on. You can figure out about where you want your glue to go. I only want it to go to the O. About like that. There we go. Now we're going to put some dimensionals on the back. I promise the other cards are not quite as time consuming as this one. This one, just like I said, had a lot of different steps to it. None of them are difficult. There just was a lot of them. I'm going to use some of our mini dimensionals here now. Looking for my take your pick tool. There it is. To put on the back of the U word. These I think might still be a little bit big. Yeah, let's go ahead and cut that down just because it is still a little bit big. And I'm putting one there at the bottom of the Y, one here at the top. And then, you know, I just want a little strip here. Maybe I'll use this here. The main reason I'm doing this, in case you are wondering why I would worry about such small pieces, it's because I don't want the card to get smashed down like while it's in the mail or something like that. I want it to have that support of those other little dimensional pieces. So that should keep it up there. And I'll peel the backs off. Okay. And I want to center my banner about like that. And there we go. I want to trim this just a teeny tiny little bit. Whoops. There. And there we go. That card is done, card number 1, with our matching envelope. And that piece that's sticking up will lay back flat once it's in the envelope, so I'm not worried about it. So card number 1, like I said, it was a time-consuming card, but it was not difficult. Okay. Ooh, Kathy says there's severe storms in her area. Welcome, by the way, Kathy. That yeah, tis the time of year, right? Okay, so now this next card, I used the Biggest Wish stamp set, and then I used some of the stamps that came in my kit. So let's get going on that one. And this is the card that I made. See if I did anything exciting on the inside. Oh, I did kind of do something exciting on the inside. So let's get going on this card. Got my envelope here. Let's get started with that. Now, just so you know, these envelopes, the flap is a little bit thicker or wider than our usual envelopes. So those of you who've seen me do envelopes before, I usually take a piece that's 2.5 by 6 inches. These ones I use 3 inches just because it's a half a sheet of the designer series paper. But a little bit of the white does stick out the end. So I'll show you how I worked around that as well. Okay, I used the polka dots in this one. So get some glue around the edge of my envelope, or around the edge of the flap. And then line it up. Make sure I've got it centered well enough that it covers both ends here. Okay, so see how it sticks out the little end there? Not a big deal. We can work with that. So trim off the extra. And these ones, the envelopes had kind of a little bit of a funny shape to them. I liked it though, so I kept it the way it was instead of trimming it down. Okay, so there we go. Now, what I did here is I went ahead and I cut off that little white end there, but I don't want that square edge, right? So, oh, Kathy said it's getting worse. So stay safe, Kathy, if you are still on. Well, stay safe even if you aren't. But I hope everything stays okay in your area. Welcome, Shelly. We got kind of a late start today anyway because I was having technical difficulties. See, I just trimmed that around to make it round again. So you're not too late. We're only starting the second card right now. So, okay, so now what we have is the card front, which I made out of the parakeet party. Let's go ahead and get it ready. And then I took, I have 2 pieces of basic white. Let me check. Okay, the one that's a little bit bigger is for the inside. So let's go ahead and do the inside of our card. What I did is I took the stamp that is just like little splotches, kind of. I took my Parakeet Party ink and I just sort of filled in this corner a little bit. I got some on the end of my finger and then got it right there. I will show you a little workaround with that though, because that's easy to fix. Okay. Don't let me forget to come back and show you how to fix that. Okay, then I took the Happy stamp that came in the paper pumpkin kit, and then I also took the, let me find it, the birthday stamp that is in the Biggest Wish stamp set. Hello, Elaine, welcome. I'm glad you could join us. So first I'm going to take the, let me see what order I did this. Okay, I took the Granny Apple Green, just because I thought it would be a little bit darker here. Did I do that? I can't believe, I think I'm lying. I think the Granny Apple Green was for the other card that I showed you, and I didn't mean to hang on to it. So I'm going to use the Parakeet Party here, and I'm going to stamp the word happy just straight across like that. There we go. Hey, you little turkey butt. I'm sorry. Yeah, so my tweezers fell onto the floor and somebody felt the need to eat one of them. Eat one side of it. Okay. Then, sorry about that little detour there. Okay, then I'm going to go ahead and put the ink pad away for starters. And then I took the Tahitian Tide ink. And you can type or stamp this crooked. You can do it straight. I'm going to do it a little bit crooked. So it's across the birthday like that, or across the happy. And that's the inside of our card. Now let me go back. Oh, yeah, I don't know what his deal is. Right now, Talina, he is, well, he's teething, and so he thinks he needs to have everything in his mouth. Okay, so let's go ahead and glue this down. I really need to get a babysitter for when I have my lives so that I'm not trying to manage a frisky little puppy while I'm doing my lives. I think that sounds very, very smart. Okay, put a little glue on here and get this on the inside of our card. Line it up here. Try to get my margins close to one another. There we go. Now, let's go ahead and work on the front of the card. I have a piece here of Tahitian Tide and the basic white. Now, what I'm going to do with the basic white before we mount it onto anything is I'm going to use the Parakeet Party again, and I'm going to use those little dots again. Yeah, Talina, it can get very expensive when dogs eat things that they shouldn't. Now I'm just stamping this kind of randomly everywhere. Part of this on the edge isn't even going to show up. And it's going to be covered in the center for the most part. Okay, so that's good enough for me to think that it's going to be uncovered everywhere I need it to be. And it was quick and easy, right? Okay. Now, this little banner is one of the pieces that came in the kit, and I'm going to show you a little trick. I like to take my bone folder and curl the paper, kind of like you do with ribbon when you are wrapping a package. And what it does is it breaks down the fibers of your paper a little bit. So it's just not quite so stiff. But now, when I lay it down, my banner is going to kind of come up a little bit. You're going to glue it down most of the way, but the tips come up a little bit. So it gives it just a little bit of dimension. We're going to go ahead and glue this onto the card, the piece of basic white, our card front there. Oh, you know what? I forgot I wanted to use foam adhesive there. So I'm going to go ahead and get my sheet of foam adhesive that I just had a minute ago. I don't want to waste a bunch of your time tonight. I've already done enough of that, so I'm going to grab a new one. Okay, let's see. And it doesn't, we don't want it to be quite that long, so let's trim off that much. That looks good. Okay. Now I do want to put a few pieces in that corner there, in those corners, just because well, I guess I don't want it because I don't want it to totally stick down. So we're just going to leave it. Okay, so let's stick this onto the card. I am a bit discombobulated here. Okay, now I'm going to line this up with the top of the card. Remember, make sure that you're placing it where you want because that foam adhesive can be pretty unforgiving. Ah, and you know what? As I said that, I forgot that I want to be able to tie ribbon around it. So I'm going to peel it up. Tonight is a night of what not to do. There we go. There we go. It's a bit tricky, but we're going to make it work, you guys. You can see it is tearing up my paper, so I'm trying to be very, very careful. Okay, now that looks really bad, but we're going to be able to get it back on there and it's going to be fine. So we'll take the bone folder and that'll help smash it down a little bit. And now it's stuck to that paper. Okay, all right, that's okay. We'll work with it. A lot of it's going to be covered up anyway, so it's not really going to matter. So let's peel this piece off. If I needed to, I could get another piece of basic white, but I'm going to be able to make this one work, I think, so I'm not worried about it. It looks pretty yucky, doesn't it? But we're going to cover it up, so it doesn't matter. Okay, let's go ahead and put our green banners on here. The kit came with banners like this, strips like this, that some had no gold on them and some had some gold on them. So what I did is I took I took my banner Pick-a-Punch. I want to make sure it's lined up in the middle here. And I'm just go ahead and getting the ends. Normally with this punch, you don't have to take such care to line stuff up, but I found that these strips are kind of weird. They're not quite 3/4 of an inch, so they don't lay in the track quite like they should. So you do need to make sure they're lined up properly. Okay, now let's go ahead and glue these guys down. I'm going to do the same thing with each of them though. I'm going to break the fibers and get a little bit of a roll going. Straighten it back out. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is I have two that have the gold kind of up at the top and one where it's in the middle. So I'm going to put my middle one down first. Line it up with the top here. Oops, looks like it's not quite in the center. What I could do is line it up this way because on my paper there's on this grid, it's got the ruler, so I could see right about where the metal is. Okay, let's do the next one. And last one. Okay. Okay, now I'm going to take some of my baker's twine. This came from that pack that I was telling you about that had all the different end colors. I'm going to leave a little extra for tying my bow. Wrap it 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Okay. I do like to give myself plenty of extra for tying. There we go. Did I get 3 there? Tie a bow. I hope you can see what I'm doing because the paper seems to be folding over my hands, and I'm not sure if you can see. All I'm doing here now is tying just a regular bow. Then you play with your bow a little bit until it's the size and shape you like. Can't seem to get a hold of the thread. Okay. Okay, there we go. And then I want to cut this down. There. Now what we're going to do is we're going to put the adhesive on again. Redo this part. Again, it's going to cover up all that ugliness, so we don't care about that. Trim it down. Okay, are we ready? Do we really mean it this time? Yes, we do. Okay. Another advantage of using these foam adhesive sheets is that where the paper's gotten torn up a little bit and it's sort of weakened because it's thin, these foam adhesive sheets will give it a little bit more structure that it needs. Just trying to peel off some of that old foam that was on there. Okay. Put this all the way up to the top of the white. See, there we go. Now let's go ahead and stick that onto our Tahitian tide. It's just a tiny little border there, about 1/16 of an inch. I do like doing that tiny little border. It just, in my opinion, it just kind of grounds the white a little bit, so it's not just like free floating there. Okay, now we glue this onto our card. That one was kind of painful, wasn't it? It was not a hard card to do, but I sure made it difficult. Okay. Let's see here. There we go. And here I'm still fiddling with that silly bow. Well, I'm going to leave it for now, but there is card number 2. I said I was going to leave it, didn't I? And I didn't do that. I can't handle it, you guys. I can't handle it. There. Now you stay. Okay, so card number 2 is done. Whew, that was painful. Okay, let's get going on that last card. This last card, okay, these are the stylish shapes that I was talking about, and I did use that back on this card to cut that blue, the Orchid Oasis circle. Okay, now for this card, I pretty much used the pieces they already had. Oh, you know what? One thing we forgot to do on the last card. Let's do this really quick. I have the little dots that, the little resin dots that they provided with the kit. So let's put those on here. And I put a couple, one there. There, and then one down here. Oh, and we forgot to do the Celebrate Your Day. And I seem to have lost that piece. There it is. There it is. We can do this fast, you guys. We can do it quick. So for this, I'm going to take the Parakeet Party. I'm going to use the stamp here that says, it actually says to Celebrate Your Day, but I'm going to mask the to part of it. So it just says Celebrate Your Day. Just putting a little bit of tape over that while I ink it up. Now I'm going to take that tape off. Don't forget that step. And I'm going to just line it right up. I'm going to center it kind of as best I can. There we go. Clean off the stamp. I'm going to use my liquid glue just because this is pretty thin. And we're just going to stick it right on here. I knew it felt like something was missing. There we go. Ta-da! Now it's done. I mean it. I really, really mean it this time. Okay. Now, for this last card, got a lot of pieces here, but I, for the most part, stuck to what was provided. There's not a lot of cutting, not a lot of trimming, all that stuff. So this card is pretty easy to do. I used one of the dies that says happy. Then we have these circles that say you, and I stamped 4 on there. Again, use the envelope provided. So let's go ahead and take a look at this one. Okay, they in this kit, they provided 4 sheets of basic white. For your card bases. And what I did here is I took just a strip of the Sweet Sorbet. Let's see, I want it to be along the bottom there. And I'm just going to line it right up with the bottom of my card. Okay, just like so. Then there's this piece. This was provided in the kit. I love this kind of offset edge. And I'm just going to glue this over the white of the card front so that red, that soft or sweet sorbet just kind of sticks out the top or out the bottom. I'm going to make sure to line this up just so. If I do it this way, I know that it's going to be matched up properly at the top because both the card and the little piece are flush against the desk. There we go. I did find I had to do a little trimming on these because the piece was just slightly shy of the width of the paper. So I may just go in afterward and trim off those ends like that, but I'm not going to do that right now. I've got my word happy and I have you. And what I did here is I wanted to bring in a little bit of that sweet sorbet. So I took my pen, put some flick on here. Now, set them aside, let them dry just a little bit. It only takes a few moments, but you want it to soak in. I have this stamp again that says just for just for you. And I'm going to cover up, I'm going to mask that just because I want it to say happy for you. I'm using the Starry Sky ink. Take my tape off. Oh, that didn't line up really well. Okay, let's try this again. There we go. Lined it up. Got the whole word that time. That is one nice thing about the about these stamps where you can see through them so you can line stuff up if you need to. You know, Marcy, sometimes I do toss cards that have less damage, but in this case, I only had so many of the pieces, so I kind of had this, it forces me to salvage it. So then the next step, what we're going to do is take the happy, put a little glue on here. And stick it down onto this piece of sweet sorbet. Let's give it a chance to just kind of let that glue get tacky. And let's put our circle on our card front right about there. Make sure I didn't use any foam when I did this. I didn't. Okay, so I've got my little for you. Then I used my little bow jig. You can find these online. This is not a Stampin' Up! Product, but I do use this a lot for tying my bows. So I'm taking some of that red baker's twine, not red, but sweet sorbet baker's twine, again, in that 5-pack I told you about. Okay. And I'm going to tie, I've got a triple bow here. Okay. Now I just kind of want to spread out all my little loops. Oh, I ended up with a quadruple bow somehow. Apparently I can't count. So I probably shouldn't tell you that in my real life I'm an accountant. Really, truly. Okay. Now I'm going to take my glue dots. Put it right on the back of my bow there. Okay, I kind of am digging this quadruple bow. It's just nice and fluffy. Okay, Well, now it's kind of looking all wonky, but there we go. See how long I want my ends. About like that. That looks good. Now, we're going to fussy cut. Okay. My scissors seem to have some glue on them, so I need to get them cleaned so that I can do a better, little more concise job cutting. I'm not going to worry about it right this second, obviously, but it's on my mental list of things to do now. This is a little section I'm probably going to need to come back and fix when I'm done, which is not a big deal. Just trim it up. Okay. I get so focused on the cutting, I forget to talk to you. Okay, let's see. I'm trying to think if I have anything really exciting to tell you about while I'm doing this cutting, but I don't think I do. My daughter might be coming to visit next weekend, so I'm very excited about that. She lives over in Seattle, and I haven't seen her since Christmas, I think. So she's planning to come over. She thinks she's coming over to steal my dog. I think otherwise, but she hasn't gotten to meet him yet. And she is bringing her roommates with her, I think. So that'll be kind of a fun trip for them, I think. Let's see, anything else exciting going on? I don't really live a very exciting life, you guys. I live vicariously through other people. I go to work, I come home, I stamp, I go to bed, and I repeat it the next day. Anybody else have a life as exciting as mine? I do like going to movies, though. I was going to go to one yesterday, but I looked to see what was playing, and there just wasn't a whole lot playing right now that I wanted to see. Well, actually, I take that back. I was going to go with my mom, and there wasn't a lot that I would want to see that I thought my mom would like. That's a better way to say that. And then on Sundays, I go out to my parents' house. They live out in the country. And so Phineas and I go out there. And they have a 2-year-old corgi that entertains Phineas while I spend time with my parents. And we call it movie day because we usually end up watching a movie while I'm there. Can't remember what it is we're seeing tomorrow. Okay, so now there's a couple edges here I just need to trim up because it got a little weird when I was cutting. This little part of my H got sort of funky. And you just smooth it out where you need to. Okay, all right, now I'm going to put a bunch of dimensionals and mini dimensionals on the back of this. If I can find my mini dimensionals. I'm kind of discombobulated, everybody. I just don't know what my issue is. Okay. Problem is I have all my little go-to supplies in a bin over here, and I kind of need to go through it and clean it up a little, because right now I've been, you know, several months of just throwing stuff in there, and normally that works. That's fine to just throw stuff in, but every now and then you got to clean it up. Okay. So while I'm doing this, I'll remind you that when this is over, I always upload my videos to YouTube. If you are not a subscriber on my YouTube channel, I would love it if you would hop on over there, subscribe. If you click the little bell icon, then it'll give you notifications of when I upload new videos. So that way, if you miss one of my weekly videos, I do this every Wednesday, or if you miss one of my Wednesday ones, or if you miss one of these paper pumpkin ones, for example, it's easy to find it because you get a reminder from YouTube saying, hey, Heather did another video, and you can watch it. So I'm really trying to build up my subscribers over there. So again, if you like what you see, I would really encourage you to go over and do that, sign up there. You can also follow me here on Facebook, where you will see the notifications that I put out saying, hey, everybody, I'm going to be on coming up in the next few days. There's those reminders as well. As you can see, I go crazy with the adhesive. You probably don't need nearly as much as I put on there, but I do it anyway. I jokingly say, if it's worth doing, it's worth overdoing. Okay. Oh, Kathy says she just retired and every day is new and exciting. Oh, I would love that. I wish I could retire. But you know what would happen is my husband and I would probably retire at the same time and then drive each other bonkers. Yep, that's probably what would happen. Now I'm going to put my little happy on here at a bit of an angle. There we go. And then I'm going to put a few more of those little resin dots on here. And, oh, we didn't do that envelope. There it is. Lost my take your pick tool for a moment there. I do like these little dots. I like that they're matte, so they add a little bit of color without necessarily being sparkly. I like sparkle, but it makes it, like a card like this could be gender neutral now. You made all sparkly and some men may not particularly care for it. Okay, so let's do this envelope really quick. If you liked what you saw today, I would love some thumbs up or some likes, some hearts. Please leave comments. I'd love to hear from you guys and know that you are here if you haven't commented yet. And if you would like to subscribe to Paper Pumpkin, if you're not yet a subscriber, you can do so on my website at heathersides.stampinup.net. If you would like to order any of the other supplies I used today, you can also order those from my online store at my website. If you place an order under $150, I would like to encourage you to please use that host code that you see there. That allows me to continue to provide these for free, as it helps me keep stocked up on supplies. If your order is over $150, then don't use that host code, because you are going to have some free stuff coming to you from Stampin' Up, and I want to make sure that you get it. So orders under $150, please use the host code. Over $150, don't use it. Take those freebies for yourself. Trying to just get this last little bit of the envelope done, and we'll take a quick peek back at the cards that I showed you tonight. So there is card number 3 in the books. What do you think, guys? Move some of this stuff out of the way. Oh, one more thing we forgot to do. let's put this down along the bottom. What did I do? I meant to do the stripy side there, but I did the flowery side. That's okay, but we'll do the flowery side inside as well so that it matches the envelope. And I just did this right up against the edge of the card. Take my scissors and trim off that extra. There we go. There. We had some problems tonight, didn't we? But we got through and we got all the cards made. We did just fine. We had technical difficulties. We had card difficulties. We had Heather difficulties. We even had a dog eating supplies. So I think we made out pretty well, all things considered, right? So let's clear up some of this mess so we can remind ourselves what a good job we did tonight. Okay, let's look at these cards. So here were the few that I had that I showed you at the beginning that are just some extra samples for you to see. I really love this one. The more I look at it, the more I love it. And this is not one of my favorite in colors either, and I love this card. Okay, happy, happy, happy. And hello, friend, using our brushed butterflies. We also have this card that we made together. This is what it looks like with the striped envelope that I meant to do. Yes, we had real life tonight, Marcy. Real life stamping. That's what you get with me. That is for sure. Celebrate your day with the polka dots. And then we also had the Just For You with these pretty flower pieces. Do this one where the flower is actually laying flat for you. And that's everything I made with my kit. I made all of this with my kit and a couple extra pieces, obviously, but for the most part, used the kit. So I really recommend Paper Pumpkin. If you haven't tried it yet, I definitely recommend it. You can buy it 1 month just to try it. You can buy 3-month, 6-month, or 12-month subscriptions. And of course, like anything that you buy in bulk, the longer period of time you buy, the less expensive each month gets. So check it out. I'm happy to see you guys here tonight. I can't wait to show you what I come up with next month. And remember, I am on live weekly every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Pacific time. I'd love for you to join us. I make 3 cards every Wednesday and we have a lot of fun. So have a good rest of your weekend and I'll see you guys later.